Hello, hello, beautiful souls of this community. Welcome to today's live. My name is Lori and I am your health and wellness coach. I am here to teach you today how to grow sprouts. Sprouts, if you are not familiar with them, are super amazing little seeds of life that give you beautiful health benefits. And before I get started, I just wanted to say welcome to this community if you're new here, and if you've been following me for a while, thank you for being here and staying and watching these videos. If you can type in hashtag replay if you're watching this on a replay, that just lets everybody else know that I'm here. And yes, feel free to ask any questions as I'm going along, although I notice that when I'm on my phone, which I am now, I often don't see the comments as I'm going live, so I'll just come back around later. But feel free to ask any questions in this live. Also, you can definitely send me a direct message and I can answer your questions there too. But it's good if you have questions that we all get to see them, because I'm sure if you have a question, someone else probably has it too. So I wanted to talk about sprouting. I have mentioned it actually in the most recent recipe that I shared on here was sprouted buckwheat pancakes. So that recipe, I would have done a similar protocol, what I'm going to show you today. And it's important that you do the sprouting part of that recipe because it enhances the life force, but it enhances the water quality in the buckwheat as well. So it's not just a dried flour. And I also have talked about sprouts in the past, just in general, in terms of them being really good for life force. And now you've heard me say that a few times in this video already, and you might be thinking, perhaps you're not familiar with what I mean when I say that. So in one way I like to look at it is like the battery pack that we have in our bodies, or you can think about like the battery, the cell phone indicator, the battery that you have on your phone, right? So as you use your phone, that battery goes less and less, and then it needs to be recharged. Well, we don't want to get to that bottom level because our bodies don't work that we can just plug it in and recharge necessarily. But what we want to do is ensure that we're having foods in our diet on a regular basis that are life force enhancing. So they're going to recharge us all the time. And one really amazing, simple, cost-effective food that you can do in your kitchen really easily is sprouts. And why sprouts? It's because it comes from a seed. So I have here a couple different examples. I have here mung beans. Beautiful one that's really easy to sprout. I would say this is a really good one for beginners. Super, super good, healthy, delicious. Can be eaten raw, but you can also, if you have a bigger quantity, make it into a soup. You can also make it into even like a mung bean hummus, something like that, or mix it in with hummus. This one here is mustard seed. I'll talk a little bit more about that one specifically in a bit. And then I have in here like a mixed container of a couple different seeds. We have mung beans in there. There's lentils in there. The reflection is not so good. I apologize. There's also fenugreek in here and maybe radish. So this is almost the same kind of thing. What's in here, I've just added a few different ones of the packages that I have. This is a package that I can buy here pretty easily. A package like this costs in the local stores here, and this is all organic. I recommend definitely always organic when you do this kind of thing. Actually, everything in our kitchen should be organic as much as possible because we want to move away from toxic chemicals as much as possible to help enhance our life force, right? So yeah, a little package like this, which is 200 grams, costs about, I think it's €3.50, something like that. So maybe depends where you live in the world. It's not that far off. If you're in North America, maybe you're paying $5 or something like this. So this package is called the Fitness Mix, but it has also, this one actually has wheatgrass in it as well, and radish, mung bean. So again, it's a really nice mix. You can get different ones like that. You can probably find them online. This brand is Bio Snacky, and it's by Rapunzel, so it's you can definitely find this online. And they also have the sprouting trays that I'll show you as well that you can get from them if you can't find it in your local organic shop or your local supermarket. So yes, sprouting is an amazing thing to have in your diet every day. You can sprinkle it on just about everything that you eat, and I recommend that. Of course, if you're eating something sweet, it's not a nice combination, but sandwiches, salads, porridges, soups, if you're having, just regular vegetables, even if you make something like a pasta, you can always just sprinkle some on top. And it's beautiful, beautiful food that is life force enhancing. And just a quick little bit of information why I really speak so strongly about it as life force enhancing. So I speak and share the wisdom from the nutritional wisdom from traditional Chinese medicine. And in this perspective, the seed is having the possibility to produce new life, right? Not a difficult concept. We all know that. If you've been gardening, if you know anything about growing, even if you're not a good gardener, you know the fact that when you plant a seed, it has the potential to grow into new life, right? And that is why sprouts are a beautiful, beautiful life force enhancing food to incorporate in your diet. Because that seed, once it starts to germinate and starts to sprout, is having everything in there to produce that new life. And we eat that, and it is absolutely amazing for our body. And especially when we go through the sprouting process, because we do the rinsing and we take off any of the harmful chemicals. So when I harmful, like toxins kind of thing. So this seed, if we go back to that, the mother plant protects this baby seed because it doesn't want germs and bugs and fungus to hurt that seed. So it puts a protective coating around this seed. So when we eat it, if we are just eating even nuts, seeds, legumes, that's why often people, when they are eating beans, they have a lot of bloating and digestion problems, because they have not properly prepared it. So we need to make sure we get that coating off, and then it helps our digestive system be able to handle those foods easier. And it's more readily available. It's more bioavailable for us. And the enzymes in there are easier to break down. Everything works better for our body. How to do that is through mimicking nature. In nature, it would happen through rain. And what we do in our kitchen is we do it through soaking. And I like to do it mostly is like an overnight soaking process, because I feel like that helps me also what I've established in my routine. I do it before I go to bed. In the morning when I wake up, I'm in my kitchen again and I do the rinse. And then evening, I do a rinse again. Morning rinse, night rinse. So it's just very easy. The day you do whatever else you need to do through your day. You don't need to think about it. But you come into the kitchen in the morning, even when you put your kettle on for a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, or you start making breakfast, an extra 5 minutes or so, depends how much sprouts you want to be making, but an extra 5 minutes really maximum can get you super, like I say, cost effective way to get this beautiful life enhancing food into your life. And I say cost effective because if you get sprouts from the supermarket, you could get like little containers. They're already sprouted ones. Sometimes it's just the tops, like the greens cut off, like something like this. So you just have the tops. You don't get the actual seed, which both are okay. But they can be quite expensive depending where you live. It can be 3, 4, 5 euros or dollars just for a little container like this, and those little containers don't last very long. And I don't recommend trying to make them last long because it's not going to be fresh. You're not going to be going through the cleansing process of it anymore. So you're going to want to eat them within probably 2 to 3 days maximum from when you open it. Yes, so I'm just recovering from a little bit of a cold, and I noticed today it's come into my throat a little bit. I feel fine, but I noticed that it's getting out of there. So excuse me while I have a sip of my tea. Okay, so the actual process of what I do is, now, like I said, I would do this every morning and every evening, and I recommend for you to do the same. And basically, you don't need to be overly concerned about contamination or mold. If you wash your hands on a regular basis, if you clean your kitchen regularly, if you're keeping your kitchen counters clean, you'll be fine. You don't want to be obviously, spitting and touching and contaminating. You don't want to be putting your food and your hands onto the sprouts directly. We want to keep the surfaces clean. But with a few different types of protocols, it's really quite easy to keep everything clean and simple. And you don't have to worry about, like I say, contaminating yourself or contaminating your family. Just like if you are consuming meat, and even if you're consuming vegetables in your diet, basically anything, you want to have your kitchen counter and your surfaces clean, right? That's pretty natural. So not overly, I would encourage you to not be overly scared or concerned. You just need to follow the right steps, and I'm confident you can get there. Okay, so yes, you want to start with clean hands, and I started with clean hands already because I washed them before coming in here, but I can just wash them again just to emphasize the process. So we really want to make sure, like I say, we're clean, right? That's ideal because we want to limit the germs. We don't want to invite those bad things in for us. So I have here some sprouts that are already sprouting. Now I had these actually in my fridge. I've just taken them out because they're pretty good size already. And if they stay on my counter another day or two, or even half a day, they're going to continue to grow, and I find the taste is off. They might even start to go bad at this stage. So these stay in my fridge. I'll rinse them in the morning, put them in my fridge. I rinse them in the evening, put them back in my fridge. But it's just like, I would of course try to eat them every meal. So they're not going to be going like this back every day. Like for my lunch earlier today, I ate a whole tray with what I was eating. I actually had made a mock tuna salad. Oh my God, it was so good. I actually thought about doing a live for it, but I was just so hungry and I was like, I can't today, but that could be another recipe I share with you another day. And I just ate that with it. It was so delicious. So these ones are, like I say, once you get to a certain sprouting stage of your sprouts growth, put them in the fridge if you're not exactly ready to eat them. It inhibits the growth process, which is really ideal. So what I would do, like I say, normally morning and evening I would do this. I take this trays off and I have these kind of strainers. Now these trays actually have the ability for you to, they have these little holes in them at the top here or on the side. And actually the concept is that when they're stacked, the water would drain through here to the next tray, and you'd have a tray on the bottom that catches all the water. But I don't like doing that because I found when I did that, I had more frequently rotting, stinking beans that I had to throw the whole tray because I'd open it up and I'd be, oh, something's wrong in here. This didn't go well. So I realized that I needed to change my system. I like these trays, they're really good, and you can see there's also these tiny little grooves in here, right? So what was happening is the stems from the different sprouts were getting caught in there, and just the water running through wasn't cleansing it enough. And I, like I say, just running the water through meant the stems got stuck, started to rot. The whole tray has to go out. You can't, there's no salvaging it. Not cooking, you don't want to do that. Just get rid of it, right? So the method I have made now is I use these metal strainers, and I have a couple different sizes, but generally for one stack of trays, this kind of like medium size almost works really well. And is what I like to do actually is when I hold the tray, I put my thumb, it just works really well so nothing gets stuck on there, where that the little like divot is there that you would, like I say, where the water is supposed to go through. I use that as like the holding point. So I put my thumb on there and then that's where I drain it from. And this tray here actually is the bottom one. It doesn't actually have that in it. So it doesn't matter. It's not a big deal, but I just hold it however then. And I always rinse with cold or cooler water. I just run the water a little bit through the tray. I think you can see everything I do in here, and just pour it onto my into my strainer. And the next one, that's where I'm putting my thumb on that little protruding part there. Same concept, run everything through here. And everything has gone through, give it a little rinse. It doesn't need much because it's already essentially clean. And like I say, if there is a bad smell, if you see mold in there, if you think something's off, chuck it. You're not going to rinse it off. Just get rid of it because you don't want to have the bacteria in there. So now you can see there's also maybe a little bit of water coming out here. I like to just kind of tap it like you tap a baby's bottom, something like that, in order to just get all the water out, because you don't want to be pouring a lot of water where it's sitting in the trays with the sprouts. Again, that's where you have the potential for bacteria to grow, because bacteria likes water, right? So we just want to tap it out a little bit. It doesn't have to be that like nothing is coming out on your hand, but you'll notice when it's not fully coming out anymore. Now, of course, because I said this and didn't want to do it, so sometimes when I look at these trays, you'll see some like sprouts get stuck. Of course, it didn't happen to me today. In the case where they would get stuck, I have a brush here, just a simple little brush. I put some soap on it. I'll just demonstrate what I would do anyways. And there actually is even soap left on the brush for me because I've done it before. And just rinse everything off nicely. Get all the little, like I say, it's usually the little tails from the sprouts that get stuck in there. I'll do it to both trays. And just give it a little rinse in there, making sure everything comes off nicely. Making sure you get all the soap off. Also, you don't want, like I said, that, you know, like I say, that's pretty normal, right? You don't want to be eating soap, obviously. So you're doing that anyways when you're cooking and eating. Now, again, just here we have this, and I had 2 trays where I had this. Sometimes your sprouts grow so much in the 2 trays, you'll need a 3rd tray when you're going to be after rinsing it. So that's a possibility. Excuse me. And now just putting it back, and I just kind of divide it between the 2. Some people don't like these, like the little shells. They come off of the sprouts. It's not a problem. If you don't like it, I would say just kind of get used to it, because you don't want to be sitting there picking it all out. Really, you can't notice it. But usually they get left at the bottom of your strainer anyways, mostly. And then just rinse your strainer out, give it a good rinse. Now with this, we want to make sure our fingers, even though we washed our hands at the beginning, we're making a clean work surface here, but we want to make sure that we're not contaminating anything. So I always take a clean fork, and I just spread the sprouts in the tray nicely so they have a nice even form. You don't want them stacked really high, because we don't want to have that opportunity for bacteria to grow in there. So yeah, I just spread it out here, and that's it. Now these trays are both clean. Stacking them, put the lid back on, and they're gonna go back in my fridge, not a freezer, in my fridge. When I'm done the live, I'll put them back in there. So this is just an example here of another stacking tray. These ones are a little bit wider. Has the same concept. It has a little, oh, here it is, has a little hole here. This one actually has with a little red like hat that goes on there. I think I even threw the red hat out because it doesn't have a purpose. Like I say, I don't like just rinsing the water through. Excuse me, I just gotta keep wetting my whistle here. So yes, same concept. These trays are just a little bit wider, same thing, it's all good. I have, like I say, 2 sets here because I love sprouting, and sometimes, you know, if I'm making something bigger, I want to make sure I have enough space for it. When I am sprouting something like for the buckwheat pancakes, if you didn't see that recipe, you can just take a look back in the lives and see it, and you'll see I have a big Pyrex glass tray. So that, for sprouting the buckwheat, I wouldn't use these because it would just be too troublesome and tiresome, and I'd probably need like, I don't know, 10 trays of these or something. It'd just be too much. So that's where I put it in that Pyrex glass tray, and I just lay it out nice into one layer using that a fork to like kind of spread it out to all the sides, and I let it sit on my counter, usually 2 days of that process, and I'll have the sprouts ready for the pancakes. I have also here another little sprouting tray that is a relatively recent addition to my kitchen. The sprouts that I just demonstrated with you are sprouts that I've been doing that style for 4 and 5 years already, and I love it, and it's easy, it's simple, and that's the process, and it's done. And those sprouts, like I say, can be eaten with my dinner, and if I don't eat all of them for supper tonight, I will put them back in the fridge, like I say, and have some with my breakfast. So this little sprouting tray, it's called more for microgreens, though that's where when we get into tinier seeds like these mustard seeds, the mustard seeds are also troublesome in a tray like this because they get stuck in the trays. And if the seeds are getting stuck in the tray, you're not going to be able to get them out easily. And if you're cleaning them out with the brush, you're not eating them anymore either. So I don't recommend having mustard seeds, alfalfa, broccoli sprouts. Oh, there's probably a couple other ones as well, but definitely those ones, the smaller seeds, you'll see them, and from experience, you will be able to know what's good or not. But the smaller seeds, like I say, like the mustard ones, they work better on a tray system like this for growing the microgreens. And this concept, you can see all the roots, beautiful roots growing underneath there. And basically, the rinsing process is taking a spoonful of seeds, which I will show you. Excuse me. Like I say, it's not hurting, it's just a little bit dry. I'm going to do these regular seeds that I have here, not the small ones, but the concept is the same. And because you see my big sprouts here that I have in the tray, like I say, they're pretty big already. So these are like really ready to be eaten. And I want to make sure that I have ones after I eat these that are going to be ready. And it always takes a couple days to get the next batch running. So if I eat one tray for supper, one tray for the morning, sprout a couple more, then I'll have them ready for the next meal or two after that. So if you've been following me also, you know that I'm not really like super into measuring and all that stuff. So I just kind of dump a bit in here. That's probably about a tablespoonful or so of seeds that I've just sprinkled in there. This case, I use a smaller sieve because it's just easier because I have a smaller container. The concept is just that you want to just at this point, just rinse them off because maybe they have some dust or any dirt on there. They don't need much here. Also, just a nice little rinse. And you don't need to worry about really tapping the water off. I like to just let it drip off. Put it in. I like personally to use a glass container. If you really have a lot of plastic in your kitchen, do your best to try to move that plastic out and get into glass container. Glass is much better. And now all you need to do is pour some water in there. Just cover it up so the seeds will expand a little bit, but you don't need to worry too much. Just make sure it's covered a couple centimeters or an inch over top. It'll be fine. And this will soak overnight. And in the morning, I rinse everything off. And now when you're going to rinse it off, I'll just demonstrate the process. So let's pretend this was soaking all night long, okay? This was soaking all night long. I would take this and pour it out in here. Really make sure you get all your seeds out. Some always like to stay on the bottom. And I would rinse it really well now. You want to really make sure you rinse it well. Because like I said at the beginning, or closer to the beginning, this little seeds had that protective coating on it, right? And the water that it was soaking in is full of that as well. So we want to be really sure that we rinse everything off as much as possible. We don't want that protective coating on our seeds anymore. We want to really rinse it off. So really make sure the water's running clear, gets a really nice rinse on there. And then for this process here, it would go into your tray. And then you spread it out on your tray, like I said, using a clean fork. Let it sit on your counter. Make sure it's covered because you want to make sure that no bacteria gets in there. I'm just going to put it back in that little tray for now. So that is pretty basic steps for sprouting. I hope I haven't confused you with a few different things there, but I think it's pretty simple. If it feels like you're not sure about something, let me know and I will do my best to clarify it. When you do a sprouting tray like this, like I say, it depends on the size of your tray. This one I got, this little tray, I don't know, it was probably, again, like €7 or something I got at a shop here. There's different sized ones, there's all kinds of different things. And anyways, so I take about a tablespoonful of seeds. I do the soaking process where I'm putting them overnight. They soak overnight. In the morning, I rinse it, and then I just put the seeds onto this little tray that now everything's growing on. I put the seeds on this little tray, and then I have actually a lid for it. But you see the lid actually, these little mustard sprouts have outgrown this lid. So at the moment I don't have the lid. I'm not using the lid. I've already started cutting some off and started eating some of these. So it's a super good way. The mustard seeds are a little bit spicy, so are radish seeds. I recommend doing diversity, having different flavors. Of course, you can find your favorite one and eat that all the time too, but it's nice to have a mix. You can also put in different ones in the same tray, not a problem. Some things sprout faster than others, so you do want to think about considering that. But again, these sprouts are not that, or the seeds are not that expensive. So if you have once in a while a tray that doesn't look good, just throw it out. Don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. When you're using a sprouting tray like this, you have to obviously keep it water. So when we do a sprouting tray like this, so we've taken the water essentially off there, but there still is moisture within it, which is necessary. Same with this. We don't want them drowning in water, but they do need some moisture. So then you're going to need a little spray bottle like this, and then every morning, every evening, just give it a little drink. Not too much. It wouldn't matter really that, now my spray bottle's not working, of course. So there you go. You just give it a little spray. Everything gets a little bit of moisture. It has a drink. It's fine. And there's been times, because it's all an experiment in my kitchen as well, where I've had too much water on there. The water accumulates on the bottom. Just let it drip out and run out the bottom. That's fine too. And there you go. And these little guys, you don't want to have any of your sprouts necessarily in direct sunlight. It makes a difference for the growth process, although it's not a problem. But if they're out of the sunlight, out of the direct sunlight, but still in a lit up area, they're going to reach for the sunlight, right? So they want that sun. So super good, super easy. Was there anything else I wanted to share with you here? I don't think so. I think I covered all of it. Life force enhancing sprouts are really something that can give you and work towards optimal health for your life. They are easy to digest. Like I say, they're giving you full nutritional benefit, super good, super delicious, and they are just life force enhancing. And these are the kind of foods we want to incorporate in our diet every day because they're healing. They really are. When we eat life force enhancing food, it is giving us healing property within, and it helps our body to be healthy. If you have any questions, definitely reach out. Let me know. I think I've covered all the topics that I want. I feel like I had my stuff set out here for us. Yes, I think so. Like I say, any questions, let me know. I can always do another live. I'd love to hear from you. I hope this finds you well, and I hope everything is going really good for you. And yes, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.